folks, Dan Frio here, the Mortgage Update. Today is May 4th, 2020. So what I want to talk about today is where to get your mortgage. Where do you go? Do you go to the bank, your local bank, credit union, a mortgage, what they call mortgage banker, a company like Quicken, a company like ourselves, Preferred Rate, or do you go to a broker? Just Google mortgage broker. So that's what we're going to talk about today, so don't go away. Okay, so let's go over the options. When you're looking for a mortgage, what are you looking for? Well, basically, you're looking at your costs. How much does it cost you to get the loan? How's the rate? Is the rate good? And what I always tell you, don't be wowed over the rate alone. Make sure you compare your costs as well, because many times somebody will get a rate from one of the big banks or one of those rocket places and whatever, and it's like, oh my goodness, that rate is fantastic. Then you flip the page over of your loan estimate and you see, whoa, they're charging me $8,000 for that rate. Maybe I should look at it further. Many of you aren't catching that, and it's going all the way through, and then you're kind of stuck at the last minute. You're going through it, then you catch it, and then it's like, you know what? I got to do it because my mortgage is due. I don't want to make a payment. They're consolidating some bills and all the other things. So don't be swayed by that alone. Then the options. What I mean by options is, do they have all the programs that you need? And I'm going to go over that in a little detail here today. And then today's rates. So when I'm comparing the big banks. Wells Fargo is basically the biggest mortgage lender out there. So I usually kind of gauge them as my main big bank. Not saying anything good or bad about them. I'm just saying they have the most information online, and they're one of the biggest mortgage companies out there. And then banker, that's me. Such as companies like Quicken Mortgage, Guaranteed Rate, Preferred Rate, American Pacific Mortgage. All these companies, we're what they're called a mortgage banker. All we do are mortgages, but we actually fund them, underwrite them. We do the whole process right here in-house. And then there's a mortgage broker. What they are, they're just a middleman. Like you use a stockbroker to buy stocks. They're down at the stock exchange. You say, hey, I want 100 shares of Google. You call the broker. He then puts it in to somebody else. They buy the stock. They tell him it's confirmed. It goes back to you. It's a middleman. So just think of the broker as a middleman trying to place you, the consumer, with one of these companies, okay? So let's go over the details on each one of these. The costs. Normally the bank costs are pretty high because they have huge companies to manage, and they do checking, banking, savings, credit cards, all this other stuff. And in general, the rates or the fees are pretty high. And you can compare that again. Go online, and I do this once a week. I go to bankrate.com. I compare me against everybody out there as well as Wells Fargo. And I tell you exactly where I am for the week. So that's, and the Wells Fargo goes over the costs. So costs in most of the banks are pretty high. With us, it's optional. I usually give you options. Do you want to pay fees? Do you not want to pay fees? And then I dictate that or manage that in your loan process. So we have a lot of options when it comes to that. The broker. So here's what the broker does. Let me just explain to you what a broker does. You want a mortgage. So you go to a broker. And I was a broker for years. And what we did is I went out to all these big banks and bankers and worked deals with all of them and said, when I got you the customer, I would just scan out there and see who had the best rates at the time, and that's how I did your mortgage. But what I'm going to show you, I'll go over it tomorrow, is when I was a broker, how do brokers get paid? And basically what happens is they increase your rate, like in my case. Let's say, for example, my rate right now is 2.75 on a government loan. If you wanted a rate, I could do maybe a rate at 3%, and you might get $2,000 in credits back to cover any fees that you might have. On the broker side, that's exactly what they do, but that's how they get paid. So they increase your rate, so there's extra premium there that the lender gives the broker as a fee. So basically they're upselling your rate higher to get compensation on that loan. So in most cases, it's middle of the road. It usually beats the big banks, but most of the time I can clobber them in costs. So the winner here is, we'll go with the banker. All right, rates. A lot of the mortgage rates, and like I said again, I do this every day on bankrate.com, and you can usually scan the system, and my rates usually clobber the big banks. And that's what you have posted on bankrate.com, and you can go to Wells Fargo and check out their daily rates. So I'll leave that as it is. Down here, I just ran rates today. Conventional and FHA loans with Wells Fargo was 3.875 for each of them. My rate today was 3.375. That was 0.5% lower than theirs, APR 349. And I don't know what their APR is because I don't know what their costs are, but they're usually high. FHA rate today, and again it's May 4th, is 3.875. Mine's 275 with an APR of 3.52 because there's an FHA fee in there. My rate is over 1% lower than theirs. Brokers, a lot of the broker piece, and I put depends and who knows, they're only as good as the lenders that they're set up with. And we have brokers that are set up to send us loans. So in this category, the broker is kind of out there. Again, it's dependent on the exact broker you're dealing with. So if it's a little company, they probably can't do very good for you. They'll tell you they can, but they don't have what's called the economies of scale, basically. The more business you do and the higher that quality of business, the lower your rates. So if you use a small little brokerage who does, 5 loans, 10 loans a month, they're not getting the best rate in town because they don't do enough volume. So the winner here is me. And and if you would, down in this description, give me questions. Dan, how about this or how about that? I'll go over it with you and tell you where I fit, and I'll be honest with you, tell you where I fit in this whole scheme of things. But I was just finding, what's the most things you're looking for? Options. So let me explain this to you. When you're looking for a loan, almost all lenders, if it's me, Guaranteed Rate, Quicken, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank, we all use one of 2 entities or one of 3 entities. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and or Ginnie Mae, okay? Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they do all the conventional loans, basically almost all the conventional loans in the country. So if you're getting a conventional loan, they're run through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, we plug in all your details in the computer, we upload it into their system, and it says you're approved or you're not approved, okay? So the next thing is FHA, VA, and USDA. FHA loans, we run through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac as well. But those are actually, when it's all said and done, those go to Ginnie Mae. So let's just say there's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out there in the industry. We do your loan, we put it through that system, and it approves your loan, okay? Now there's another criteria that a lot of companies use, especially the big banks, is what's called overlays, okay? So what an overlay could be is, for example, FHA will allow you to go to a 57% debt ratio. All right, your debt ratio is all your expenses divided by your income. Most of the banks out there will only go to 50. But if you run it through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, the system, the computer system, it'll still approve you at 57, but they're saying, no, if you go over 50, we won't approve your loan. That's an overlay. So in my case, if I run it through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac and you get an approval or we get an approval, we have no overlays. So basically, if the loan exists out there, I have it and I can abide by the guidelines. Most of the banks I put down limited because a lot of them, for example, right now, Wells Fargo just came out and said if you're buying a home, you need a 700 credit score with 20% down, period. If you have a 699, it's denied. If you have 19% down, it's denied. I can get away with, if you're a first-time home buyer, I can get away with 3% down. with a 620 credit score. Can't do that at Wells Fargo. Okay, brokers, depends. Who are they set up with over here? So this is tough. Just because you're calling a broker, a lot of them say, we're cheap or we got every program under the sun. That's not, on its surface, that's not the truth. Okay? And again, over here with programs or options, depends on that particular company. So the last piece of this is I'm going to go over, again, where were we with today's rates? I beat them by a half. I beat them by over 1 full percent. Brokers, you're at their mercy. You got to call them. They basically don't publish online because they don't know where they're going with you, and they don't have a lot of control over the application. They're at the mercy, again, at one of these companies. So you go through here, and I won here, I won here, I won here, and I killed everybody on rates. And if you don't believe me, go to bankrate.com and or watch some of my videos that I do. I do it once a week, and I'll put in today their weekly update, the rate update versus bank rate or something like that. I'll make sure I start doing that, so every week you can jump in there, and I just randomly pick a day and do it, because I don't want to say every Monday I'm going to do it or every Friday or whatever, because you might think I'm manipulating something. I don't want to, I don't want to seem it like that's going on. So if I could be of any help to you, hopefully you want to use me, or at least give me a chance. The best way to get a hold of me, again, my name is Dan Frio. I do the mortgage update every day. I'm actually on radio in Chicagoland, in the Chicagoland area. You can hear me on WYLL radio every night from 7:30 to 8 p.m. and on WIND, which is one of the largest talk radio stations in Chicagoland area, on Saturdays from 7 to 8 a.m. But if you'd like to reach me, give me a call, give me an email, dfrio@preferredrate.com. So dfrio@preferredrate.com, or you can visit me on the web. I just got a new website because I want you to be informed about rates, mortgage rates. So it's therateupdate.com. So therateupdate.com, go there, you can apply now. You can reach out to me, I'll give you quotes on closing costs and rates and everything else that you can imagine. So if you'd like to call in, it's probably the quickest and easiest way to get a hold of me. Call 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-LOAN. And other than that, God bless, stay healthy, and I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Look forward to hearing from you. See you then.